Are you ready for a story that will keep you on the edge of your seat? One where the line between right and wrong fades, and forbidden desires take hold? Listen closely. This tale will creep into your thoughts, haunt your conscience, and force you to ask, how far would you go for something you shouldn't want? The sun was dipping below the horizon, casting long shadows across the quiet, suburban street. The familiar hum of Austin's car filled the driveway. I had been staying with my daughter Annie and her husband for the summer, and with each passing day, I felt myself drawn to Austin in ways I knew I shouldn't be. It was a truth I hated admitting, but no matter how hard I tried to push it away, his calm strength and the quiet way he moved through the world made it almost impossible to ignore. I stood in the kitchen, a wooden spoon in hand, stirring the beef bourguignon I'd spent most of the afternoon making. The savory aroma filled the house, a comforting distraction from the tension rising inside me. I heard the front door open and turned, smiling as I greeted him. "Austin, you're home," I said, trying to sound casual. "I thought I'd make your favorite beef bourguignon." He paused in the doorway, one eyebrow raised. "Annie's favorite, you mean?" he replied, his voice gentle but holding a trace of unease. I waved my hand dismissively and turned back to the stove. "Same thing, isn't it? You both enjoy it." From the corner of my eye, I saw the tension in his shoulders, the way he avoided looking directly at me. I knew I made him nervous, and, strangely, that gave me a sense of power. Not because I wanted to make him uncomfortable, but because I needed him to notice me, to acknowledge the strange connection simmering quietly between us. "Where's Annie?" he asked, setting his briefcase on the counter. His voice was calm, but something was buried beneath the surface. "She's working late tonight," I answered, focusing on the pot as if it needed all my attention. "Some big project. Just you and me for dinner." The room fell quiet, save for the bubbling of the stew. I felt his eyes on me. I smiled to myself, the excitement mixing with guilt in my stomach. I knew I was playing a dangerous game, but I couldn't help it. Something about Austin kept drawing me in, urging me to test the limits of what was acceptable, just to see if he'd ever break the silence between us. Over the next few weeks, I became bolder. I complimented him in small, careful ways. I found reasons to be in the same room, to stand a little closer, to touch his arm as I passed by. And I saw it, the way his body stiffened, how his eyes sometimes followed me when he thought I wasn't looking. It was reckless. It was risky, but I couldn't stop myself. One evening, I found him sitting in the living room, a book resting on his lap. Annie was out with friends, and I'd made dinner just for the two of us. I brought him a glass of wine, letting my fingers linger against his a moment longer than necessary. Then I sat beside him on the couch, closer than I had before. "Austin," I said, my voice low, "I feel like you're holding back." "Why is that?" He took a sip of the wine, stalling. I saw it again, that hesitation, that struggle. "What makes you think I'm holding back, Mom?" he asked, his tone carefully neutral. I leaned in slightly. "This. Us. You feel it too. You can't deny it forever." He looked away, his jaw tightening. "Mom, I don't know what you want me to say." "I just want honesty," I said gently. "With yourself. With me." He took a deep breath. Our eyes met briefly before he turned away again. "I can't do this," he said quietly. "I'm sorry." I looked up at him, torn between disappointment and stubborn desire. "You can't run from this forever, Austin," I said. "So sooner or later, you'll have to face what you really want." He stood up, placed his wine glass on the table, and walked away. I knew I had crossed a line, but I also knew there was no turning back. The feelings had taken root, and I wasn't ready to let them go. I couldn't. I wanted him, and I needed him to see that he wanted me too. One afternoon, he was working from home. His laptop sat open on the kitchen table. I was outside by the pool, soaking up the sun, watching him through the window. His brow was furrowed in focus, his shoulders tight. I waved at him and motioned for him to come out. He hesitated, then closed his laptop and walked outside. He sat on the lounger next to mine. I reached out and touched his arm. "You seem stressed," I said softly. "Let me help." I moved behind him and placed my hands on his shoulders, gently massaging. I could feel the tension in his muscles slowly ease. It looked innocent, but it wasn't. "Feels better, doesn't it?" I whispered. He nodded silently, eyes closed, his face betraying the inner conflict. I knew I had to wait. I had to let him come to me. "Caroline," he said suddenly, voice uncertain. He pulled away quickly. "We can't. Not here. Not now." I smiled, trying to hide my frustration. "Then where? When?" He stood, his whole body shaking. "I don't know. I need to think." I said nothing, watching him leave me there by the pool. I had pushed him again. But I also knew the truth. He felt the pull. It was only a matter of time. Then came the night Annie left town for a work conference. The house was quiet. Too quiet. Heavy with everything we weren't saying. I found Austin in the living room with a book in his hands, trying to act like everything was normal. I sat beside him, wearing a loose silk robe that clung in all the right places. I saw his eyes flick toward me, then quickly away. "Austin," I said softly. "Look at me." He hesitated, then finally turned. I saw how hard he was trying to stay composed. "Mom," he whispered. "We can't." I placed a gentle hand on his cheek. "We can do whatever we want. No one is here. No one has to know." He hesitated again, torn between impulse and loyalty. I could see it. He wanted me. He didn't want to, but he did. I stood and held out my hand. He looked at it for a long second. And then he took it. We walked upstairs, hearts pounding, the weight of what we were about to do pressing on both of us. I knew it was wrong. I knew it was betrayal. But I couldn't stop. I needed him. I had never needed anyone this way before. Afterwards, we lay in the dim light of the room, side by side, silence stretching between us. Guilt crashed over me like a wave. Heavy. Suffocating. I had betrayed my daughter. I had crossed a line I could never uncross. And yet there was something else. Something deep and dark and strangely satisfying. I looked at Austin. His face was clouded with the same mix of regret, fear, and longing. "Don't regret this," I said quietly. "We can't take it back. All we can do is move forward." He nodded and reached for my hand. In that moment, I knew he was with me. Maybe not forever. Maybe not fully. But for now, he was mine. We began a secret relationship, tiptoeing through each day, always careful around Annie, always pretending nothing had changed. In stolen moments, we shared brief glances, quiet touches, and whispered words that no one else could hear. It was dangerous, a fragile illusion, but it was real. And despite the fear, despite the guilt that followed me like a shadow, I was happy. Truly happy. With Austin, I'd found something I didn't even know I was missing. And I wasn't ready to let it go. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But even in that happiness, I knew the truth. We were living on borrowed time. Sooner or later, this would all come crashing down. And when it did, I had no idea what would be left standing. Do you think Caroline and Austin's relationship can survive the weight of their secret? Or is it only a matter of time before betrayal leaves them both in ruins? Thank you for reading. I hope this story stirred something deep inside you.